Well, welcome to another one of the very sporadic editions of the Madaxman podcast. This one's in video as well, so I think the YouTube version of this might even be better because we will be talking about pictures. And if you're listening to this in audio, there's a sort of structural limit on how good that is to our powers of description. Flowery as we are with our use of language, as I'm sure you've noticed if you're a regular listener. But if you're on YouTube, you'll know what we're talking about. And what we're talking about here, I've got Dave and Gordon, who were the least successful British team to go into Germany since some probably European Championships in 1972 or something, which I suspect we didn't even qualify for. But much more important than the toy soldiers stuff would be the getting to the toy soldiers stuff, the staying and drinking when the toy soldiers stuff was happening, and then the getting back from the toy soldiers stuff, which, you know, people seem to be very keen on the gastronomy and the drinking elements of these trips that we do. So we're going to focus, and we've also got some museums as well. There is some real history going on in here as well. But we start with us with this fantastically useful road sign in the Channel Tunnel, the Channel Le Shuttle terminal at Folkestone, which we whizzed through, actually, didn't we? It was normally you end up being delayed forever, but surprisingly, nobody seems to want to go to France at 10 o'clock in the morning on a really chilly November. What was it? Wednesday? We were Thursday. I can't remember.
Certainly, yeah.
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning, yeah. It was empty, so we we ran in, grabbed a coffee, grabbed the duty free, and then we were in the car and straight away. And we didn't even have to cheat by going into the wrong lane, which Dave and I have done before, to get straight on the train and straight off the other side. And all of a sudden, before we knew what we were doing, we were heading all the way through bits of France and into Belgium for our first targeted stopping place. And I think, Dave, you've got this one as well, which was Mons, which we've stopped in before overnight, but this was just an afternoon break the drive up sort of trip to visit the Mons Museum that wasn't actually open last time we went. But I thought it was
Brand
quite
new museum, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's brand new. It's really like a jolly little thing, with obviously a focus on the First World War. And Dave, you took this picture as well. This is quite an impressive helmet, isn't it?
It's I don't know. It's obviously a pickle horb. Is that what they're actually called, or is that something?
Pickelhaube.
Pickle
Okay.
halber. And an
Yep.
interesting Stein for your beer when you're in the front line.
Why did they have those points on the top? Anybody know? Just to make them look.
Dust out if you're being shelled.
Sorry?
Keeps the dust out if you're being shelled.
What?
Really?
Oh,
In
no,
what way?
right. Sorry, I thought you said, why did they have the lid on the Stein?
Oh,
Oh
no.
God, no.
No,
Okay,
on the
no,
lid,
not
on
that.
the helmet. Is that a bit of a Londonish? We've been too Londonish here now.
Yeah. So why would you have that
But
pointy bit on a
Russians
helmet?
and early, I think the first Pickelhaube style helmet I remember seeing would be from when Prussia was still Prussia before Germany happened. So from the, I don't know, 1840s, both German armies and Russian armies had spikes on top of their helmets just because they look cool.
It was
I
just
think
fashion.
they were all it's all sort of like post-Napoleonic. They were all sort of kind of wearing Napoleonic helmets and things like that. So it's sort of, I guess it's all that sort of going back to cuirassiers and things like that, isn't it? French cuirassiers were still dressing like Napoleonic imitations of Alexandrian cavalry.
Would you like put your head down and just try and stab someone with the top of your head, or is there any other element to it? Is there actually any military function? No
Well,
one knows.
I think it's about as functional as having a bloody great handlebar moustache, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was mandatory, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Looking
exactly.
at most of the photos.
Spike on your helmet and a great huge waxed moustache.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
Well, it's quite.
incidentally, that's why Adolf Hitler had such a tiny little toothbrush moustache, because during the First World War, you couldn't wear a big brushy moustache with your gas mask. So the fashion became to do the little toothbrush moustache. There you go.
Odd. Okay, then. Yeah.
That's where it came
And
from.
and to have a smaller, spikier helmet, something like that,
Yeah.
because there's quite a lot of brass work on that one, isn't there? And yeah, quite a thing. Because the museum had what was that one? That was a shell case which
Yep.
First World War soldiers had carved or bashed the metal into little religious icons to carry around with them as well, which was kind of sweet. Well, sweet in a what do you do in the trenches
Desperate
sort of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was quite good.
There were some sort of waxwork dummies of uniforms, cavalry, and all that. Let me share that.
Yeah.
How do I
Oh,
share
okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, replace current share.
Yeah, replace share. Let's see. Let's make the tech work. Go for it.
Does this work? Oh,
That works. That's, oh wow. God, that's all the uniforms, isn't it? That's
the British uniforms.
There's a couple of kilts. That's
And
good.
then, that's the German uniforms.
Okay, much plainer.
There's a bloody great machine gun.
I think there's quite a lot of bloody great machine gun, wasn't there?
Oh
Really?
yeah, there's a
That was
German
cool.
completely weird bulletproof beetle of costume.
That was like the Mycenaean Dendra armor, wasn't it? In a way,
It is like a Dendra panoply, isn't it?
it's a Dendra panoply. Well, was that a stick to hit people with next to it or something?
No, I think that was a sniper's rifle, a great
That
big
was a
long
sniper
one,
rifle. Oh God,
Yeah,
okay. In the dark, wow. Okay.
converted from a duck shooting gun by the look of it.
And then that's the picture of the cemetery we went to last time we were there.
Yeah, that one. But presumably before it started having both flavors of soldiers in it, really.
I think that's actually when they were. Maybe not. I don't know. I thought
No, they all look a little bit German, don't they? I think.
Yeah, they're Germans. They've got. You can tell that because they've got spikes on their helmets.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A lot of gardening in that one.
Anyway, enough of that noise.
And a proper Thompson submachine gun sort of thing,
That's
or is that those are mine?
German stormtroopers, very late World War One submachine gun.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that is prior to a Thompson, I'm sure, by a decade or so.
A decade at least.
German with a little machine gun, the round thing on the side. It's very, very, very late war.
Yeah.
And then the stormtrooper thing.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. You see lots of pictures of that in books.
Yeah. That's a leather mask with chainmail, is it? Or was it cloth?
Yeah.
Chainmail.
And with a visor to protect your eyes from all the metal spalling off the inside of your tank.
Yes, it is. It's inside of a British tank.
Okay, a tank driver's face mask.
Yes.
They got some really good stuff there, haven't they? It was
an exemplary museum. It was superbly presented. Everything was well preserved. I mean, amazingly well preserved. I just thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, it's really definitely worth stopping at, isn't it?
The local Belgians we know from Mons had never been to it.
No, it must have been open just so recently. I'm just trying to wonder whether I've got any other bits and pieces from it. So yeah, there's just another couple of bits there. What did I have? If I replace the share with that one, yeah, because there was some there was a couple of bit of medieval stuff, like a proper comedy helmet in there, but not too much. It was obviously pretty much First World. That was the same picture as you. That's even more gas maskery and tank maskery in the bigger context of it. And this gun, I believe, fired the last shell of the First World War. It was a Canadian gun that was this gun fired the last shell of the war, and the Canadians have donated it to this new museum in Mons, which was pretty cool. And then we ended up in Bastogne, because me and David stayed in Bastogne before, and we thought we've got to break for the evening somewhere, and Bastogne was just about doable from Mons, with a couple of hours break in Mons, so that we weren't just driving. Although we did stop at some slightly weird motorway service stations, which is always a highlight of going through Belgium and Luxembourg and France. I think, Gordon, did you manage to find
I did.
some unusual products on sale? Not the ones we found in Spain. Anybody remembers that one?
Not those ones which were hidden away downstairs.
Downstairs, no. These were somewhere in public. But yeah, this was this is when we got to. Here we go.
So often you won't see in British service stations the bottom row magazines and books there to keep the kids quiet, but these are a big thing.
As opposed to the top row.
Yeah,
I've no idea what's on the top row. I didn't look at it. I was so interested in the bottom row.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so well, maybe there is quite a lot of traffic jams around Brussels quite often. So you could probably get stuck into Newton's theory of relativity, or sorry, Newton's theory of gravity and
That's one
Einstein's
thing
theory
he
of
didn't do.
relativity. Yeah,
Why
no,
Heisenberg got a portable TV?
I think that's actually just a thing about Breaking Bad, isn't it? That looks like the guy from Breaking Bad, doesn't it?
No,
in
no.
this
There's, on the far right. There's a I presume it's a DVD or something on Heisenberg, but it looks like it's got a portable TV as the picture.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. But I think the little guy that's in the picture looks a bit like the actor from Breaking Bad. So it might be a Breaking Bad reference. Who knows?
Possibly, but I believe that is Heisenberg.
Oh, right. Oh. Actually, it was so maybe that's why they
Yep.
got him, because he looked like Heisenberg. Okay.
Yep.
Let's have a look. What else did we have? So yeah, Bastogne, which we've been to before, it's just far enough from Mons that it's a reasonable drive. It just got dark, and then we found our Airbnb almost somewhere in the woods in a way, wasn't it? Out of a pretty chilly evening by then, and pretty misty, and they had most of the things that were supposed to be there, just missing one of the beds, I think, which was a minor detail.
Yes, there was no bed and there was no bedding, but apart from that, it was great.
The front door was completely open and unlocked.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, but you know, I don't think anyone would have even found it down that road. We did quite well to do it, and and this is the wrong one. This is the broken tank in the middle of Bastogne. But the main reason for going for Bastogne was both the beer, which you've seen a bit of Dave's one, and this really great railway carriage restaurant, which I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it called the Wagon? The Wagon, wasn't it?
It's the Wagon. Yeah. We've been last time when Gordon hadn't been there, so
no,
that was quite.
That was my fish, which was beautiful. But Gordon got the win, didn't you? You were.
Yep. That bouillabaisse was the best I've ever had. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
And what I call good value. I mean, it's not cheap, but for the work that went into it and what they produced, I felt I paid a fair price for that.
Yeah, because it wasn't cheapest, was it? But it was a.
It was a good. I need to share a picture here. Hold on.
Oh, that was yours, wasn't it?
No, I'm going
to show you. That's hearty peasant food.
There you go.
Oh, there it is. Yeah,
that really was, wasn't it? Which was to say it was rich was the biggest understatement of any food I think I've ever eaten.
Look at that duck leg. That just is
oozing blood.
Just perfectly pink and stuff like that, and then a bit of sausage in there as well. So
we did have the pudding as well, didn't we?
Oh yeah, there was a pudding, wasn't there? There was the mysterious. What is it? What was this one called? Eel flataunt or something?
That actually wobbled in the picture. If when you look at it on my phone, it actually wobbles around.
Oh God!
Yeah.
You know that.
So what was it? Was this something you'd had in your childhood, Dave?
I have no idea what that was. It was creme anglaise, wasn't it? It was something. Yeah, it was like the mange, wasn't it?
Yeah, you thought it was going to be meringue, but it had the same density as air. It was incredible stuff.
Wow.
And then there was the final damage. Was the
that was where it started to go wrong, wasn't it? Really, it was.
I was starting to text friends at that point.
Yeah, and then we tried a couple of pubs which were shut, which was a bit disappointing, and then we found a slightly grotty bar, I think, but then we ended up on shorts, on beers of different names.
Beers mainly, yeah.
Oh dear, there's some empty glasses there, isn't there?
Yeah,
we must have. I think we had more than we expected, or more than we planned.
Yeah. It got a bit messy.
It just got a bit, it's a bit kind of quite a lot of it. So let me have a look. What have I got there? And so that's your food. Oh God, yeah, big limoncello. What was that one?
That was my framboise, which I thought was going to be the framboise liqueur, which is lovely. But this is the eau de vie version.
That's nice. That's really good.
70% proof. If you remember when you smelt it, it knocked you out of the chair.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. That almost caught fire, didn't it? Just because
it's still the essence of blackberries, isn't it?
God, nuts, absolutely nuts. So after that though, we just staggered back to the house and just about managed to wake up the next morning. and then go through a very, very foggy Bastogne to go to the other side of town, to go to the museum that wasn't open last time when we went, because we came back on a Monday, because all of Europe is shut on a Monday, which is kind of a bit tricky. So this was a tremendous museum, actually. This was the Bastogne Barracks, which you have to park like 200 yards up the road and walk along the side of the road to go to. But it's basically a tank museum. And a bored little girl sits, a very good one, and a bored little girl sits in a porter cabin, and when you drive up to the gate, she goes, "No," which she's done 1,000 times before, and then you go park and walk back, and you're freezing, and then you end up seeing loads of little tanks like everywhere. So there was all that kind of rusty stuff out the front, wasn't there, that looked a little bit unexciting, or that it might be unexciting, and then it suddenly started getting really quite cool, because that's a murky day, isn't it?
Yeah, it was atmospheric.
It was atmospheric. It
had an
there was a lot of
25-pounders. I remember that.
Yeah, enormous amount of 25-pounders. There must have been a lot left behind. Maybe they were too heavy to carry. And then I think this is because I think I painted one in 15mm. I think that's a German paratroopers Pupchen gun.
No, the Pupchen one which fired the rocket. Isn't that?
No, I think they had a tiny little pop gun thing.
That's a Pat 60 or something like that. I like the camouflage on it though.
It has moss.
It's got moss.
No, it's the camouflage, which is exactly the right camouflage, like the roadsides.
I think it's just because it's been left outside for 30 years. Quite possibly.
No, it's like look, hold on, like the trees in this picture.
Right.
Oh, there you go. Look, it's the same camouflage.
Yeah, it fits in perfectly. But so did that pattern tank that we saw outside on the buildings, which was covered in moss.
Yes, there was all sorts of stuff, wasn't it? Yeah, that was it. So, well, anyway, so this little thing was one of them. It was kind of fun, but we were outside at this point, and then that's it from the other side. There must be someone here who knows what it is, but it wouldn't have done much damage to anything really. Probably my car that might have bounced off. I think these days, and this was a good one. This is one of my favourite photos, Gordon.
Gordon being the rebel.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, well, sod it, let's not do it. And the slightly large 203 howitzer, but you were taking a much close-up picture of a wrecking truck or something.
Well, those two recovery trucks pulling at that other thing that's on its side. I can't remember what the other thing was. I did take pictures of it closer, but it still wasn't very obvious what it was. No. I don't know about World War II trucks.
No, well, they're all just trucks, aren't they? For most gaming systems, they're just a truck.
I've forgotten more about them than I knew as a child. I think what I've realised is that when I was about 13, I knew more about World War II tanks and vehicles than I do in any way, shape or form anymore.
Yeah, it was kind of murky. And then you walk past and this was all sorts of stuff, wasn't it? It was
all work in progress.
That's an AMX, French one.
That was all sort of modern stuff, wasn't it?
That's some Brit stuff, isn't it? Yeah, which was obviously going to be going somewhere, but you couldn't get into this ex-fire station bit. And then you started to get some really well-restored things like this Staghound. Oh, sorry, no, it doesn't zoom in, does it?
Him proving he knows what these things are now.
I think that's a Staghound. Because it's a big old piece. And can I actually zoom in on? No, I can't zoom in on it on this particular screen. That's annoying. But that was really nicely restored. And then that one wasn't a Chaffee. That was a Walker Bulldog, I think, which is a Chaffee type thing with a big gun. In very good nick, all outside. There we go. Look at that, an M41 Walker Bulldog. This was a Canadian M10.
No, that was a British one, wasn't it?
That was the British one, possibly, unless it was.
It's definitely that was the British M10.
Yeah, that was the British one. Yeah, that was the M10 that the British called. The Americans called it the Wolverine, and we probably called it the Archer. I think.
Yeah,
that's possibly it. And then there was a Joseph Stalin 3.
Yeah.
Of which only 200 ever got built or something.
Yeah, I think it was it 300 or something? If you see it, and it's just tarpaulin over the back, and it's just more than just World War II tanks, because that's not really a World War II tank, and it's certainly not a Bastogne related tank.
And a couple of trees strapped to the side.
Yeah, yeah, there were, weren't they? Actually, was that another one? But yeah, it's a big old beast, isn't it? But they must have been planning to do something with this structural framework around it for lighting or something, or put a tarpaulin over it.
Getting Thunderbird 5 to take it off. Yeah,
that could be it. And some of that fantastic high quality Russian engineering in the welding, even in that one. And but that's a nice thing. So Achilles, there you go. That's what it was called. Not Archer, Achilles, 17-pounder. M10 with a 17-pounder. And then the slightly disappointing, well, it depends if you like guns, really. The Hall of anti-aircraft guns.
Well, we are in Belgium, so they've got to have a number of Bofors guns, haven't they?
Yeah. Isn't Bofors Swedish?
It's Swedish.
Are they? Oh, I thought they were Belgian. So I'm just showing what little I know about World War II.
I think it's FN Herstal is the Belgian one.
Yes.
And they did the Bren gun. They did the Bren gun, I think, was theirs. So yeah, bit of Bofors action there. Bit more either 88 or Russian 85 reboard or something. That little 4-barrel thing that you always want to try and use on infantry in any game system.
Stick on the back of your M40 half track.
Yeah, exactly. American howitzer. And then you start getting into these late war British tanks, which Comet, he says.
Is it possibly a Comet? I think it's a Comet. I don't know.
Might be a Comet.
Yes, it's got big wheels and little ones as well. So yeah, I think it probably is, but I'm not sure.
This is quite an exciting game, isn't it? Oh, Comet, yes. Get in there. From February A44 to Juin 45. 1,200 made. That's actually quite a lot, isn't it? Wow. And then we started getting indoors with the proper shed.
Yeah, this shed was nice and warm compared to the other shed, and had a lot more interesting things in it.
Including a very, very big half track with quite a big gun on the back, which was proper anti-aircraft malarkey, and a whitish pack 40, 75 mil, which is nice. There's always a Hetzer, and it was always, I don't know, because there's one in the other museum as well, isn't there? I think
one in Warsaw, because the Poles captured one and took it off the Germans and used it in the uprising.
But there was one in the other museum in Bastogne as well.
I think there was, wasn't there?
There's a lot of them are owned, were ex-Swiss, because the Swiss carried on making them after the war. So there's a lot of sort of Swiss Army ones that have just been painted up as Germans.
They could hide them in their motorway service stations.
I think they were just cheap, and it was based on a Skoda, so they were able to get the frames from somewhere.
What's good about the photo there is that I hadn't noticed this when I was looking at it, but you can see how it was stuck together and then welded. It was just the slots slotted into each other. Yeah,
it was an actual kit. It was like MDF, isn't it? MDF kits these days. Doing that. And then in the background, that picture is of one of those anti-aircraft Wirbelwind things that I've always been skeptical that they ever actually existed. You know, every wargamer wants them. And then there's an upside down Panther that's had a bit of a bad day.
The Panthers having bad days in that museum.
Yeah, that's quite a bad day.
All the German tanks you saw were upside down or on their side, and they were all Panthers.
Yeah,
like they were really the worst Formula One Panther drivers in the world.
Yeah, they were not having a good day. There's a Jeep, but you can see in the background there's a Panzer IV, which is kind of cool, with some nice camo, and they're always different marks, and I think this is quite a late one.
76 millimeter, isn't it?
76? Is it 75? I think it's 75.
Showing again, I don't know it.
There we go. But that's how you get in. Another bit of crappy old welding there at the back. It's a weird one because it's all sort of square, isn't it? This was the 88, 85, 88, 85 Russian. There we go. That bit, there's a lot of heavy lifting being carried by that sentence. The guns then have an 88 centimeter caliber. By I guess they must have just bored them all out. But does that mean that the 88 was originally a Russian gun rather than something designed by the Germans?
No, the 88 was German
But
pre-war.
that's kind of it, isn't it? Really? Is it?
So what's that saying? So the Germans captured
They reboard them. I mean, you
Yeah.
can reboard to make it the board bigger, but you
I
certainly
wouldn't
can't
like to
reboard to
shoot
make
one of
it
those.
smaller.
No, no,
I
exactly.
wouldn't like to shove a shell up a second-hand Russian 8.5 and think I'm going to manage to get an 8.8 millimeter shell inside it, and then
Everyone
try
would
and
stand
shoot
next to
it
any
5
gun that was
millimeters.
supplied by the lowest
Lowest
cost provider.
cost provider, yeah. That would have been grim. And then one of a million Shermans, M4 105, that must be a late war big thing for loads of stowage on it. That's always good. Those inflatable ones that the Tank Museum keeps putting in your Facebook feed. Right, here we go. So you want wet stowage. There it goes. That's the one that we've just seen. I think people in the snow, a lot of Shermans, and you could get, there was no one else here, was there?
No,
As well. I
There was
think
a
we were
bunch
the
of
only
people
people
I
in this.
think we were leaving, but that was it.
We were the only people in this shed. We could have,
Yeah.
walked up and
And
cracked our knuckles on these.
stolen a
There's no
Sherman
fences
firearm.
around them. There's no fences around them or anything, is there? No
there's only
little
one
wires.
teensy-weensy problem. There was only a small door to get them out again.
Yes. Well, I suppose you're okay, aren't you? And this is a very
Driver.
stylish set of costumery from the Germans in there. Oh, look at him. Oh,
What did you do, Dave Allen, during the war?
yeah. Yeah, that's he looks like quite a chap, doesn't he? I patrol little comedy tractor for the Americans in there.
That's when I was sitting there thinking, when they're handing out all the equipment, you go, come on, you cannot be serious. You're going to give me that.
You're going to give me this outfit? Yeah, exactly. Come on, really? Are you serious? Yeah.
How many Shermans have we bought? And you're giving me that.
I've got this. Yeah. There's your quad AA on the back of the half track. That's just great anti-infantry weapon. I think this would look inside it through some top quality welding as well. There it goes. Yeah, there was some little chain to stop us actually getting in. Loads of equipment there. Yeah, you were having a poke around in that one. Even little steps.
There was nobody else other than us there.
No, that was it. Yeah, the only people. There's your 50 cal on the back. If you ever wonder what colour to paint the spade thing, which I always do, now I know. There it is. And then the jumbo. Only 250 again. I bet there's loads more of those. I bet there's people own more than 250 of them. And this one works if you want to shoot someone with a very large gun and a Sherman. This one will actually do that for you.
Charles P. Odette.
And this was the best one. This was the first tank to drive into Bastogne when the Americans liberated it, but unfortunately it had clearly driven away. That's what the sign says. It was just like this big hole. This was the only thing missing, and it was like first into Bastogne. It should have been this one, literally, and it's just not there. And then
one of our Shermans is missing.
This was you doing
bring this out.
Yeah, this is the best. Yeah, this is you driving a tank. This is virtual reality. What was it like? Is it because I didn't get to.
It wasn't bad actually. I thought you had a go. I've got a picture of you somewhere with this.
Yeah, I did have a go, but I didn't manage to find the bit with the handle. I don't.
Oh right, you couldn't
whether...
actually get it working.
No, maybe you're a better tank driver than me.
I thought the first bit made me look like a bit like Bojo, but there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is definitely not camouflage, Dave. This is just neglect.
Rust and neglect. There's something going on there.
But that was in the bit where they were going to wheel it in to do a bit of repairs. Oh, but that's great. The French tanks. Yeah.
Like how bonkers is this Renault? How bonkers is this little tankette? It's just, I still don't understand how people actually fitted in them.
Unless... Well, the Germans were using those in Normandy, though, weren't they?
They must have done, but
they were. Yeah, they had loads. They had loads. They gave all their troops on the beaches. They gave all these really rubbish old French tanks.
Yeah, and that was a which one was that?
Matilda,
and that was Russian Lend-Lease, I think. That one.
Top speed 4 miles an hour.
Look at that. Oh. Called Odette with a trailer as well. It's just a Renault UE2. There's the slightly weird Matilda. It looks like it's got running plates for people to stand on, hasn't it? and some other bits. And the Valentine Russian Lend-Lease as well. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff in this museum. A 152, which that was a bit of rough and ready engineering. That was just a big old lump of metal, wasn't it? Mad armored cars and a Lee Grant in there. A funk wagon. You've got to have a bit of funk wagon, haven't you, in your life? Which is the funk wagon with literally the bedstead on the top. Humber like Recce, which looks sort of weird. M3 Grant. I've just got, that's the back of the 152. That was the one with a bit of wood, wasn't it?
Yeah. Had a tree trunk attached to it.
What a rough old beast that was. And a Stug. Stug's got a Stug. Probably Czech owned or something. That was in good nick, but still pretty rough and ready welding. House of F8, if you're interested. I'm sure someone's already spotted that already. The Dark. God, there's loads of stuff. A chunky, stunky thing. Some other mobile artillery, an artillery tractor. It's just buckets. More trucks than you can wave a stick at, but no one's interested in trucks.
Well, actually, I was really impressed by the American tow trucks because they were
huge.
I don't know if you've got a picture of them. I think I might have one in mind, but the only thing you need to know about them is they're gigantic. You stand
the tank transporter.
Its wheel, and it's almost as big as you are tall.
Yeah.
The tank transporter was really something, wasn't it? That was they had in the middle of it. It was vast. In fact, look, there's a bit of scale of tank because you always think the Sherman's little, but it's quite a big thing. That's the Firefly, isn't it? Yeah, they've literally got that thing painted to try and make the barrel look like it stops there, so that the Germans didn't choose to prioritize shooting it. And then that's a Cromwell. Loads and loads of stuff. Another one with a big old lid on the top. This was that the one that was the glider one, I think? Or
oh, I think so. Yeah. That was the one with the parrot. Yeah, but it never got used or something.
Yeah. There we go. Locust. Designed and built, used by the British. Right, so across the Rhine in 1945, but they didn't get used in Market Garden. I guess that must mean. That must be a Chaffee, I suspect. Another Sherman. Another armored car. A Matador. Nice square little bits. Yeah, that's going to be a transfer, isn't it? No one's painting that. Did Ian used to drive around in these from our club? Is that?
Are they ferrets that he drove?
Oh, maybe it's ferrets. Maybe that's the one after. These were a little bit earlier than that. And then that's a Pershing, I think. And this was the big old truck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was like aliens.
Yeah, it was that big.
The wheels are as big as a human being, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you got the little stand.
Yeah, because that gives you the scale. That's the Sherman's on the back.
Yeah.
See how big the wheels are.
In fact, you had to walk over it because you couldn't get round it in the shed. Yeah. They'd actually put a little bridge over the top of it. And then a whole set of anti-tank machinery.
Piat.
Bring up the Piat. That's it.
Yeah.
Bring up the Piat, as they say in the film. Yeah, that's the one. Would you really be like, oh, it's got a big spring?
If you were given one of those and say, go and get that tank, you'd swear, wouldn't you?
You would. You'd be like, I'm not that keen on that sort of thing. No, indeed. So no, I think that's that was.
I'd ask if I could use a lanyard with it.
Yeah, yes, indeed. But I thought that was a grand museum, and then and took us quite a long time, didn't it? Actually, to get around, there was a surprising amount, and there's clearly a lot more that they're restoring that at some point will be there. But I think you've got to be careful to get to the right museum. That's the Bastogne Barracks Museum. But there was something else that was opening in the actual barracks, wasn't there? That was probably...
Yeah, there was a kind of... The implication was that it was all going to be in 3D, which suggests that you'd be wearing virtual reality goggles to walk around in some sort of environment.
Yeah. because that's the thing with the French and the Belgians. They have lots of sort of private museums, don't they, everywhere? So there's multiple different. We found that in Normandy as well, like the other year. There's like each town sets up its own museum as a tourism thing, and some of them are privately run as just commercial enterprises because there was so much stuff lying around that it's not a sort of state mandated sort of thing, really. But no, I thought it was a really good, a really good museum. And then we ended up going from there to Trier, where I've got a few photos, but I think Dave, you might have some more. This was
I'll share some pictures of Trier. So first of all, we've got
yeah.
driving through the Ardennes.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
oak leaf camo.
Yeah,
Yep,
quite good, and it was quite beautiful going through the forest and that.
it was.
And that's where we parked. So that's some sort of gate in Trier. Don't know what that's about.
Just one of many.
One of many.
That's the Basilica,
Yeah,
which
because
is
we walked.
that's late Roman from the period of Constantine, and is in absolute perfect nick. I think that's one of the most astonishing Roman buildings I've ever seen.
Because we walked around that going, this can't be like proper Roman, didn't we? And actually it was.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, no, and it's a church
built by the
inside.
Romans.
It was actually on TV with Mary Beard the other day.
Okay, what was that program?
It's the fourth part of her series. It's the one on the fall of the Roman Empire, basically.
Okay,
She goes to Trier and goes in there.
okay.
Unfortunately, that basilica is only open for 2 hours a day, and something quite odd like 2 till 4 or something like that. We missed it anyway.
Yeah. I think you need to go to church or something to get in, don't you?
Yeah, and you have to go in as a group. Yeah.
There's
Okay.
Gordon walking down towards the churches.
That's pretty
The
kind
old
of Germanic, isn't it? That town bit going on.
I think it avoided the worst of what Aachen and other cities took
Yeah.
in the war, didn't it? So
Yeah,
it was in pretty good condition, I thought.
it really was,
And
wasn't it?
there weren't any tourists, and it wasn't very touristy.
It was bloody
Which
freezing.
kind of nice. But
But
yeah,
no,
but
actually, you're right. It wasn't sort of, they've not put touristy things in it, have they? It was just sort of,
it wasn't a town dependent on the tourism trade.
no.
No, it just has an enormous amount of things worth going to see.
Exactly.
Yeah. There weren't people dressed as Roman legionaries taking photos and asking for money, were there, anything? It was just there.
And that's the entrance to the Our Lady Chapel,
I think
the first Gothic church in Germany.
Uh-huh.
The first Gothic church in Germany. That's a good old thing.
And it's right next door to the Trier Cathedral.
Which is that one.
Which was that one, yeah.
And then there's a pink building.
Oh, was this where they were building up the Christmas markets? Everywhere we went, they were building Christmas
that's the
markets.
Foundations.
There you go.
That's pretty textbook, isn't it?
That's a German-looking town, isn't it?
Yeah, that's model railway stuff, isn't it?
Oh, then we've got the Porta Negra.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which we all bought. Well, Gordon and I bought models of.
Yep.
Yeah,
and I've used it already.
Really? Did it? Was it 45 baggage or just normal baggage?
Yeah. As well, as a 45 baggage, yes.
Has it been captured?
Nope. It intimidated my opponent.
Oh, that's good then. Yeah. Because this had been built into a much bigger building, hadn't it, or something at some point?
That is the walls of the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Trier was the Roman capital in the late Roman Empire.
Of the actual whole empire, wasn't it?
Yes.
They moved it from
when the
Rome.
empire was divided into 4, but the major, I think it's Constantius, who's the elder brother of Constantine, ruled the empire. But it was
it was an edifice, wasn't it? It really was. But it had been built into a cathedral or something, and then Napoleon had kind of cleared it all off, I think. Because this was next door, wasn't it? This was almost the museum next door that we thought was, I think that museum, to be fair, we thought was going to have more of this stuff in.
Yeah, but it was loads of cultural stuff, really, really good models like this.
Yeah.
For a small, think about it, it's a small provincial museum, and it had the kind of stuff that would, fill a couple of galleries in the V&A, and you think, yeah, that's really interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
it reminds me of Chester. Skull's Bridle, always good for a laugh.
Yes.
You don't want to laugh. if you don't
Your
want
hobbies
someone
are your own, really, there, Dave.
this could get a bit boring. I think I was taking
This could
pictures.
be art, couldn't it?
Oh,
Oh, Bomb
goes-
City.
Yes, that's what it
Yeah.
was.
That's
yeah,
what was
maybe
left behind.
that's what, yeah, that's after
That's,
the last British visit.
yes. Yeah, the RAF did that.
Yeah,
Or possibly the Americans.
yeah,
And then
some
there's-
strange stuff.
there was some weird stuff in that gallery, wasn't there? Yeah. And now you're back to your Faller model railway buildings, which were
Walking
just
back
everywhere.
back to
And
the
that was
Basilica.
That's the Basilica.
that's the side of the basilica, yeah, which was just insane.
Menzies, an architect, would not believe me that was Roman, but it is.
No, it's just amazing, isn't it?
I even looked it up on Wikipedia, and it is.
Yeah.
You know, I would have liked to have gone inside there. You can see the Roman brickwork there. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's
been patched up a bit, isn't it?
over the years, but you know. Oh, and then this was in the big museum.
Yeah, we went into the proper
Yeah.
museum, didn't we? In
Yeah.
the history museum, which again we were the only people in it, I think.
Yeah.
In kind of a very strange person in gaiters and a very small penis.
Yeah, that's a sort of German. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the boat on the Rhine, taking the wine from the Moselle to Rome.
Yeah, and that's a huge piece of carved stone, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They'd only bothered to do one side of, I think.
Well, you wouldn't rise from your grave with that on top of it.
No, you wouldn't. No.
Can't remember
So
what
it was-
that was. That was important. Oh, that was a Roman standard.
That's
That's
actually a standard.
Yeah, Roman standard.
Significaras.
Yes, exactly. Oh, and there's a typical German Roman in his wet winter gear.
Wow. So we could actually get someone to make a figure of that then.
It's a Roman
And then you put it
anorak.
And then people could put it on table and go, that looks stupid. That can't be real.
That's what Liam Gallagher would have looked like in the 5th century.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Just before having a fight with his brother.
Yeah, exactly.
That's quite a thing.
Oh, and these are the baths.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
or
are,
a field, as it's known.
I mean, they're a bit of a mess, but truly, truly impressive. I mean, the
Yeah.
best baths I've ever seen outside of Rome. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there was a lot. And you could go into the hypercost, is it? Hypercost, the bit underneath?
In the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little thing on the tower where you can see what it would have looked like
Okay.
originally.
Yeah, it was a huge building with layers and different things and the rest of it, wasn't it? Or it would have been.
Room for several thousand slaves to be stoking the hot water.
Yeah, there's not too much of it left. Yeah.
Oh, and then there was that's the church. Oh, more of the basilica. That's a good picture of the
More
basilica.
basilica. That was a great shot, the basilica. Yeah.
And what's that? That's a bill.
That's a bill from something. Yeah, we must have whatever. That's a different piece, isn't it?
That's
No,
true.
it's the Daughters of Dracula halfway down. So this is
Oh right, that must be the
First
draw.
round draw.
The
That's
draw.
the draw.
It's
That's
the draw
what
for
it
the
is.
competition.
When we
aren't we?
got
Yes.
to the pizza place, this is in the pizza place. This is when they did the draw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
we
take
drove
the
all the way
photo of
to
it. Yeah.
we drove all the way to Koblenz where we were staying, and then dropped our stuff off at this flat, Airbnb, and then drove and got a very weird bit of signage which we may have misunderstood because we're not German, but we were directed away from the side of the river, around
That's
the
right. Went
maddest,
all over the top on the very, very, very,
God.
very steep road.
very steep road up and then very steep road down, and then dumped the car for the weekend at the pizzeria. Had a few beers in with the guys in Braubach, and then which I'm just actually no, I'm just trying to think. Going back to Trier, is that Trier? Yes, I've got some other photos of Trier. Actually, I will just chuck in before we do that.
Sharing.
Mhm.
I'm sharing.
Replace the quick share, and which I think so. This was the rather mad
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the
Gaudy-
Electus Palace.
the Alexis
Yeah.
Palace, which is built into or built on the side of that Roman thing.
Basilica, yeah. He
That's-
could probably
that's
nip
done in-
in for a
that's
quiet
done in-
prayer on his own.
That's
Just
done in
kind of-
Barrow and Ball Peach as
Yeah.
opposed to Barrow and
It's
Ball.
just around the corner.
Right.
Like that picture of the door that you showed, Dave, is
That's
just
right.
around the corner from this thing. You know, there's people floating around having a ball there. And then also in the museum, there was some astonishing, huge mosaics
Yeah.
from that they'd found in Trier as well. Like this is just, but these were vast, weren't they? You know, these were kind of 20 feet, 30 feet or more.
Good
Like
one.
this one, they put in a tiny little room with the whole wall. It's just in honor of some charioteer or something. But just, you know, this was, how big was that? That must have been 6 meters by 5 or something.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was, it was a double height room. So
It's a
yeah,
double height room,
5 meters square, probably that thing.
5 meters square. Just absolutely nuts. And then there was this amazing model
That was
of the
good.
actual city itself. And I think, you know, the Black Gate was just one of somewhere like there
Yeah, the
or
northern
here,
edge,
but
which I think is the one.
that you can't quite see maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the Black Gate. Oh, was that the Black Gate
It's either
over
that
there?
one or
The
it's to
river, that's the
the
river
left. I
there.
don't know which.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know.
Who knows?
Right in the top middle's the centre of the town, the forum.
Yeah.
So
In
it's,
that case, it's the one you could see at the top of the picture would be the Black Gate.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
What a place. Just what a place. This is a huge, huge model. And then yeah, that's Braubach. That's the Braubach castle with presumably the local version of Count Dracula living there and illuminating it of an evening, quite possibly. And yeah, and that's in the venue the next day. But right, what other things did we have? Yeah, yeah. But no, it's good pizza. Met all the German guys again. We've met a few of them before, and the Brits as well. Had a few beers, good bit of pizza, and then went back, and it was actually quite late by the time we got back because the trains don't work in Germany, much to everyone's disappointment. I think something's gone wrong with the world.
Long distance trains falling apart because of lack of infrastructure, but now even local trains are disintegrating, or local train services are disintegrating. So that every German we asked, why have the trains got so bad? Just went into a rage about it's a disgrace.
It's just terrible. Our whole brand values have collapsed as a nation. It's awful. But it was just yeah, it was just completely bonkers, wasn't it? And it was every time we wanted to get a train, that was the one train in about every 2 hours that wasn't working.
Yeah. So we ended up having to take the bus every time we went.
Every single time.
Because the trains, which would have been door to door virtually.
Yeah, in minutes.
And the buses were sort of like cast off London bendy buses, which were not designed for going through medieval villages on the Rhine.
No. They were a bit tricky. They did struggle a bit, didn't they?
They were the wrong size and shape.
Yeah. But we did manage to get some quite nice bread and pretzels and things for breakfast in that little bakery at the bus stop every day, which is a bit of a highlight. And then managed to go into the venue where the Germans had actually, well, I think it was just saying, had provided excessive amounts of beer. This was in a school gymnasium that had, this was just like beer brought for the event, I think, unless it was just left for the kids and we drank it. But this was just all included, wasn't it? Which was just loads and loads of it.
Cheaper than water, isn't it?
Yeah, some of it was water, some of it was other bits and pieces.
Oh, but some of the prices we saw in the supermarket, some beers were cheaper than water. Yeah,
some were cheaper than water. This was, would you like a kind of what, a 20 pack of Jägermeisters for £1 a bottle or something like £1.50 a bottle? We didn't do that one. We stopped off on that one. This was something we avoided.
I've never had Jäger.
No, you don't really want to. There's a Swedish version of it called Gammeldansk as well, which is even worse. But on the Saturday evening, we headed back into Koblenz and had quite a fun meal with a lot of schnitzel, a schnitzel starter, and a sausage starter, wasn't it? It was a currywurst starter.
Oh yes, you insisted on having currywurst. Yeah,
and you were grateful that I forced the currywurst upon you. I think
that was all right.
It was pretty good. And then there was this weird thing down by the river because Koblenz is where Moselle and the Rhine.
Yep, Moselle.
Some other ones.
Here's a picture of the currywurst.
Oh, good, excellent. You've got to see the currywurst picture.
Oh no, I'm showing it. I'm about to show. That's the currywurst.
Oh, look at that, currywurst and chips as a starter. This is like proper wargaming food, isn't it? Sausages in curry sauce with chips.
And there's a whole series of German beer pictures.
Oh, good.
Oh, German efficiency.
Look
Yes.
at that, yeah.
Yeah,
Just getting results done.
fully prepared for round one.
Yep. More beer.
Yeah, I'm going back to the curry first.
Okay, yeah, go back to the curry vest.
And then the castle in daylight.
Oh,
It is really
yeah,
like carpets.
that really, really was. But then, yeah, in the evening we ended up walking down by the river, and there was that weird blue light thing going on that was kind of strange. Which it was weird. Did we work out what it was?
No,
Not a clue.
No,
No.
but I'm confident it was not the Northern Lights.
I think we should just tell
still
people
think
it was
it's
the Northern Lights. I think we go for the Northern Lights, and everybody will believe us now they've seen that photo. We can get away with it.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm sure what happens in Germany could be
Or you could claim it's the Mittelstand lights, and then they
the
say,
Mittelstand.
"Oh, them! Oh, yeah, of course."
Yes, these are the German Northern Lights, the Northern German Lights. That's the answer, isn't it? And then after we'd finished up, well, do we just want to gloss over the competition because we didn't do particularly well, did we? It was
But I've got nice things to say about my competitors.
Okay, no, that's good then. Let's go for it. Let's absolutely do it. We had 5 games and 3 of us. So that's 15 games, and I think did we win 5 of the first 6 that we played?
I
we
did
did quite well, and then it all sort of disintegrated.
It absolutely fell apart, didn't it? I'm not.
Yeah.
So, Dave, well, Gordon, what went wrong for you, and how soon?
Going up.
All right, going up from a poor start.
Yeah.
I had a draw against one of the 2 German players I played that weekend. Nice guy, but didn't go to very many competitions, so it was slow, and we got a draw. Then my second game was a win against a French player who took an army even worse than mine, and that was one of the problems, was the army I'd chosen to take. He'd taken old stroke middle kingdom Egyptian, and about a third of his army was mediocre. Something like half of it was bowmen. Didn't have a huge amount of terrain to hide in. But my army still managed to lose, assaulting it on his back edge. Ridiculous numbers of cataphracts charging into mediocre bowmen in the open, losing, dying.
Oh,
that's quite good.
Oh dear.
So,
yeah,
but
the writing's on the wall with that, isn't it?
Yeah. So, despite the my poor showing there, I mean, just eventually Roman legionaries and cataphracts will tend to overturn bowmen in the open.
Yeah.
So I won that one, but then I moved on to my string of 3 losses, and my next 2 games I thought were really enjoyable. I mean, I played Kevin with Warring States from France, and Uwe, one of the German organizers, with Patrician Romans. Both games were really enjoyable, very precise. Both of us had a really good chance until most of the way through, until my guys decided, no, we're not fighting any longer. And I won't say anything about the last game, because by then I'd kind of run out of painkillers and just hit the wall, sort of psychologically as well as physically, and sat down to play Thomas with his Gepids, and found that one of the design flaws, one of many design flaws in my army, was that having about a third of the army, and the most important of it, with a heavy foot, under an unreliable commander, who then needed to move to fill the gap before the Gepids arrived and went round our flank, said, no, I am not doing that. So he waited until they'd arrived on his flank before saying, all right, now guys, we fight. Oh no, we don't fight, we give in.
We just got run over.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I think it's just like mine. So yeah, Samurai, again, I think same sort of thing as you. It was my army was kind of quite well optimized to beat Samurai, and I think it wasn't an optimum Samurai combination. The poor chap with Wars of the Roses English had terrible time, terrible dice. I completely outdiced him, and again, my army was pretty well set up just to run at longbowmen, try and avoid getting shot on the way, and then beat them in combat. And that was over in far too short a time, and I'm not quite sure what else he could have done. Hungarians, I just couldn't get to grips with. We were playing on the steppe, and it was an army with lots of light horse, and it was the first non-completed game in a win or a lose that I think I played in about 2 years. It was I was looking sort of almost shaping up to lose it when time ran out, but both sides were quite a long way away from it. Against the Sahelian Empire, which is kind of a mad Arab army with camels, I um, I got mugged with some idiot stuff that I just walked into and got slapped in the, on Sunday morning, and then the camels just had far better dice than mine. The highlight I think of that was my knight commander included in a knight with two overlaps failed to beat a light camel bowman for 4 turns, which is quite some spectacular dicing. And then we played the Flems, Flemish Low Countries, and I think everybody over here in the UK would play Low Countries with hordes of mediocre pikemen. And I'd got quite a lot of mediocre pikemen and some other stuff, but unfortunately, it was a Low Countries army with a normal pikeman, ordinary pikeman. So they just beat mine, and then it was over. Really, we had to go somewhere else and leave and head off. Dave, what about you? What was your
I'm trying to
tale of
remember.
woe?
I can't remember the first game at all, but I think I won it. The second game, I played a very nice French guy, Olivier, I think, who had Mayen, and it was
Wow,
all bow, sword, and I got the whole table open, and then my Byzantine heavy cavalry lancers refused to go through medium foot in the open.
wow,
And I think we had 4 bounds where each of us needed 1 point, and we both hung on.
whoa,
And then we ended up with a mutual destruction, and it was a cracking game. And Olivier kept coming back and saying how much he'd enjoyed the game,
oh,
which was
good.
good. Then I ran into, because of you two, I ran into Pablo Suarez, who
Your favourite? Yep.
and my ally refused to play, and he beat me because my ally refused to fight. Then I played Hubert again,
Yep.
and his story of the weekend, his camels blew me away, totally blew me away.
Yep.
And then the last game I played another Byzantine army with my Byzantine army, and his was much more of a standard one, and mine was trying to be too clever,
Right.
and that didn't go very well at all.
It just didn't work at all. Oh dear.
But
Okay.
we were kind of, what I couldn't understand is we were kind of on the second table with 2 games left, and we ended up mid-table
Yeah.
again. So we must have been, something went terribly wrong in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, you've
It
been
really
very
did, didn't
generous
it?
about saying we ended up mid-table. We were in the
Yeah.
bottom half by, actually,
Oh
I
yeah,
think we've been in the bottom third even.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Some people came pounding past us in the final lap.
Yeah. So after that, because it finished relatively early in the afternoon, that gave us a good run to towards Cologne, and where we were staying for the evening. But the weather really closed in, didn't it? It was just filthy, and my Teutonic sat nav was sending us through the woods, and up and down mountains which I'm sure shouldn't have been the route. Maybe there was some accident on the autobahn or something. And it was trying to find a cleverer route, but we were listening to podcasts about the Hertigan Forest and the terrible time the US Army had in there in the Second World War. Which, if you're a fan of Al Murray's podcast, there's a 2-parter that we listened to on the Hertigan Forest because we couldn't find one about any of the other forests that we've been to, and so it's the closest thing. And it was basically 2 hours of 3 people going, "Oh, it's bloody awful, terrible, horrible, really, really grim, awful."
Landmines in the forest.
Landmines, people with sticks, or everybody dug in. It was horrible. Loads of them died. Should never have done it, but they couldn't have done anything else. It was horrible. So we've saved you listening to that.
But then, as we got close to Cologne, didn't we run into a podcast about something we should have realised when we got there, that it was the carnival in Cologne?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
the carnival.
Should have been done.
Weird Cologne podcast, which, if we'd been paying attention, we would realise we were going to run straight into a strange event in Cologne.
Yeah. Well, I think we knew that the carnival started the next day, but the podcast we found was like a German one about the history of the Cologne festival, and it runs from like the 11th of November to the end of March,
Hmm.
which is quite a long time for a
With a
drinking
break
festival.
for Christmas.
With a break for Christmas and a break for New Year as well, I think.
And
When
most
they,
strangely, that when you think the British, the Americans, the French, and everybody else was
Belgians, yeah,
there with the Germans deciding on a time for the armistice,
yeah,
the First World War, and going, I know, the 11th minute past the 11th
yeah,
hour on the 11th day of like 11th, blah, blah, blah. And the Germans were going, yeah, that's when we start the party in Cologne.
yeah. We
Yeah.
just start boozing in Cologne. We're just all
Yeah,
over
it's
it.
almost like saying after 4 years of war, we need an armistice at a meaningful time, and somebody saying,
Yeah.
I know, April Fool's Day.
Yeah,
April Fool's Day.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's beer o'clock in Cologne.
In
And,
Cologne.
but we did think that because it didn't start until the next morning, we might, get away with it. But basically everywhere was full of people getting an early one in, wasn't it? Because 4
Yes.
months of partying and drinking beer is not enough. You need to start early the night before.
Yeah. So that by the time we saw people arriving to party at 9 o'clock, well, maybe
Yeah.
8:30 the following morning,
8:30,
they
yeah.
were already projectile vomiting.
They were really great. But we did have not a bad Lebanese meal or something like that. And
Turkish.
oh yeah,
Turkish,
actually, and then
definitely Turkish.
And that was the bit that,
Definitely a
so we
guest
tried all
spot.
the German restaurants at about 7:30, and they went, no chance, we're full of people doing German celebration. And then we went back into them afterwards, and sort of about 9 o'clock, and they were emptying out. We're like, you could have told us to come back in an hour and a half. We could have had a beer, but Cologne Cathedral was pretty gothic, isn't it? Really,
Yep.
to say the least. It's one of the more gothic buildings there is, but they had stopped we went in the evening because it was raining, and they'd stopped people roaming around it because by then there were already people dressed as cows in fancy dress, drinking enormous quantities of lager.
Not just cows, but entire herds of cows.
Herds of cows. Yeah. Look, this is us having a little bit of fruit beer in the place when we went back afterwards, when everybody had kind of done that. But that's another town. So yeah, but it was a busy.
Here's some pictures of the fruit beer.
Yeah,
Right.
you got more fruit beer.
There we go.
This is the Kelowna thing. If you got some more fruit beer pictures.
There you go. That's the bar, the Brauhaus we were in.
Yeah, the Brauhaus. Yep.
That's the
That was kind of
Brauhaus.
fun. That was packed, wasn't it?
That's
Everybody
them all
was.
dressed in red.
It was earlier.
It was packed earlier, and then this is the bit where,
Packed earlier.
why didn't
They
you
were
tell
all
us just to
dressed
come
in
back
red.
now? We could have had pork knuckle and everything there, really.
Empty beer glass.
Yeah.
That's the
This
next
is the
morning.
weird next morning, yeah.
Hotel. These are
But
people
we-
in their silly costumes.
This was people who were staying there who were already in fancy dress, and we started
There were
started thinking,
all these Germans dressed as Scousers.
yeah, indeed, in the shell suits.
Headband.
How long did it take us to realise this was fancy dress and they weren't just dressed like that?
And that's an
Possibly this
elephant
guy
for
was the
people who are
giveaway.
wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, the elephant is
with,
a
with a
well-known.
very strangely positioned elephant's head.
Yeah, I don't think it's strangely positioned. I think there's a degree of German sense of humour about that,
Okay.
for sure.
Oh, these are the pirates outside.
Yeah, yeah,
And they were really nice people.
they really were. Yeah,
But
just
these
didn't
were
look it.
the kids who were vomiting outside the hotel at 9 a.m. in the rain.
Yeah. They'd come in on the bus and been tanking it up on the bus on the way in from God knows where.
Dressed as a handball team or something like that.
Oh,
It
all
was
sorts of
wet.
mad
Then.
stuff.
It was pretty grim. Oh, here we go.
yeah,
Frisians.
cows.
You're going to
And
do
these
your
are udders.
Frisian joke.
These are udders, aren't they? That you can
They
see
are
there.
meant to be udders. Yeah.
They're meant to be udders. There are a lot of cows around.
Which we thought were Dalmatians for the first 5 or 6.
We did. Yeah. Yeah. Bob the Builder with bear hats. Fuck knows what that
That's
was.
why they
really.
closed the cathedral.
That's exactly why they closed the cathedral. Yeah. Yeah, we couldn't get into
There
that.
you go. There's your Frisians.
There's your herd of Frisian cows. Yeah.
You're going to do your Frisian cow joke.
Yeah, we could do the Frisian cows. Yes, it's like we what do Germans from Frisia call Frisian cows? They call them cows. That would be it. That's just the way it works. And then we walked to try and go to yes, we walked to try and go to the museum in Cologne. Is that Don McHugh? No. To go to the museum in Cologne. And we got all the way there, walked miles through the rain, and it was shut. There was just a little sign pasted on the window going, no, it was shut today. Didn't say so on the internet, didn't say anything like that. And then that's just basically us getting back into the car, from whence we went to, we went on the way home, we went to Aachen, because Gordon, you missed it last time we went. And
I did, and I'm very
Christmas had certainly happened in Aachen.
To see it.
There was
not
a little
just for the chocolate shops, which were delightful.
The chocolate shops in Aachen. Hold on, I can do Aachen better.
You can do Aachen better.
We have to do Aachen 24 rather than Aachen 22. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Is that coming up all right?
That's good. Yeah. That's absolutely Aachen Cathedral. So we'd seen this before, but you'd not, Gordon. So how blown away were you by how mental this cathedral actually is?
Oh, it's stupendous. And considering that this was rebuilt after the British and Americans visited it repeatedly.
Yes.
It's a real labor of love to recreate this. And it is beautiful.
It's absolutely stunning, apart from that bit. But yeah. No, it was just absolutely crazy.
Still quite a bit. I mean, the mosaics have been redone. There's a lot of it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it's a very busy. I mean, we should tell people this is where Charlemagne and all the original first of the Holy Roman Empire were crowned when the Western
Empire.
In
fact, isn't that Charlemagne's actual?
You'll see his coffin shortly. Well, his casket. Yeah. He's not here.
Well, no. This metalwork hanging down.
Oh, this, yes,
that's the original, I think.
That was a gift to him from someone.
Casket out back. Which we can probably get to.
Yeah, this is a bit more. Yeah, there's a bit more stuff in there.
There's a lot more.
A few saints on the roof.
This is definitely my sort of thing. I mean, it's very.
There you can see the casket.
That's it. There you go.
Yep.
So his relics are in there.
Yep. Bit of dead Charlemagne action going on into that one.
That's kind of cool, though. I like that.
Oh yeah, but a double-headed eagle thing. Well, half a double-headed eagle thing.
Yeah.
I think that's original, actually.
That's why that's there.
I like the way
they sponsored stained glass windows, weren't they?
They haven't tried to go back to the old school. They've done the modern stained glass.
With the sponsors' names at the bottom.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that was grand. No, that was a really good stop. I was absolutely happy to go back there again. It was because it's just mind-blowing. It's a shame you can't get up on the gallery to get a bit closer to some of these bits.
One of the best places I've ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you an idea of what Istanbul, Constantinople, Hagia Sophia must have looked like.
When it was covered in these, Yeah,
the whole thing must have been quite remarkable.
When you see that
up the top there,
I think Hagia Sophia would have looked like that. You can imagine the Normans would have been quite shocked and blown up by what they were seeing.
Yeah, it would have been very, very impressive for them, wouldn't it? Yeah. Absolutely impressive for them. And then and after we'd done that and managed to find our way back to the car, which was another one, we went to Leuven, not Luden, but Leuven. Or is that one of something from bookshop in Charlemagne land?
Oh, there we go. I think that's Leuven, isn't it?
That's Leuven, which we just stopped because it was raining everywhere in Germany, and by the time we got to Belgium and we needed lunch, Leuven looked like it might be an interesting town, and then we remembered it was the home of Stella Artois, but the Stella Museum was shut because it was a Monday because it's Europe. So what do you do? But it was a proper. It looked like it'd be a really nice place to stop if we go back. It's not a bad distance in, and it looked like of an evening on a Friday or a Saturday it would actually be quite jolly.
Yeah, and the town hall will be open within 4 years as well.
Yeah, that was one of the great signs, wasn't it?
Here we go.
When's the town hall open? 2032.
That's a stupid town hall with 250 statues on it.
Wow. Name them all. They could all be anyone, couldn't they?
They're a very typical Belgian beer house.
Yeah, which was shut because it was a Monday.
Yeah.
Big Town Square.
Oh, this is the local church, local cathedral.
Yeah, there was a church that was very
Yes, it was
different to the
beautiful.
slightly OTT one from before.
Yeah.
Apart from that bit, there's a little OTT.
And there was some good, what do we call it? Some good artwork at the top of the. There's some good paintings, some triptychs. I didn't take any of those. Yeah, it's good. It's a very Belgian town.
Yeah, no, it was really. And then there was a dead insect on a stick, wasn't there, as well?
The beetle.
You got the dead insect on a stick, which
There
is
we go.
apparently the symbol of Leuven. Who'd have known?
There
there you go. Huge dead insect on a stick right in the middle of a town square, one of many, many town squares. After seeing this was like, that was kind of the end of it, really, wasn't it? That was the
kind of the end of the trip, really, isn't it?
yeah, that was pretty much the end of the trip. Yeah, for sure. So, right, if you can we stop sharing that? Does that work? I'll just try. Yes, but we did forget to mention the heavy metal album by Christopher Lee.
Indeed.
About Charlemagne that we managed to, that on the way to Cologne that we managed to listen to, which I think where was it here? Yes, this one, The Omens of Something. Can I start that? Let's start it. No, let's go full screen. Look at this. Quite something this was. Yeah, that's entirely enough of that. We'll just stop that completely.
I've never
still
heard
going on in the background. Stop it for sure. But no, I thought it was a
tasteful things.
Very.
We didn't mention our accommodation in. It must have been in
Koblenz, wasn't it?
Itself. Yes, because it was 2 days there.
Yeah.
That it was kind of party goers Airbnb kind of place.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm not saying it was bad quality because it wasn't.
No, it was lovely. It was really nice, but a bit
well
weird.
appointed. It's just that my bedroom had slightly more in it than was strictly necessary. As well as the super king size bed, it had a gigantic whirlpool bath.
Yes.
With jets and things in it.
Yeah.
It was a
jacuzzi, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
I think it was actually a massive jacuzzi, which I think the German word for it is one of these compound words that if you separate it, it says sordid sex bath.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And it even had great thick shag pile carpet around it as well.
in the bathroom.
Yeah. It was kind of very strange.
If you accidentally put bubble bath in it, suddenly you just can't get out of the bedroom.
The whole room mists up.
Exactly.
You'd have filled the entire flat. You would definitely filled the entire flat. So and then we managed to get back on the shuttle, and that was again entirely deserted. I don't think I've ever seen the Calais side of the shuttle so empty. I think there were like 10 cars in the car park.
Yeah.
We waited like no time at all. Whereas, me and Dave in the dreaded Brexit day trip from many years ago, we got stuck there and put in a cage or something. We thought we were, the French were just protesting about the vote and were never going to let us out. It was just quite grim. So no, we actually got back ahead of time, and a pretty good weekend was had by all, really, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
It would be good to look at some other German competitions or maybe some other French and Belgian ones to do some of that trip again. Now that we've worked out the plan.
And he lives somewhere else in Germany, but he didn't seem to think there was much call for ADLG in Berlin, which is a shame.
Yeah.
There's a trip to Berlin, nudge, 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 nudge.
Yeah, anyone want to run a show in an event in Berlin would be grand. But there's got to be other German cities as well to go to, because
we've got to be thinking we're planning Helsinki, isn't it?
Yeah, Helsinki. That's going to be one of the next trips coming up. I'm not going to drive to that one on your behalf.
No.
We will get the plane for that one.
No, I think if we can ask for volunteers in the northern half of France, we might consider that as well.
Yeah.
There are limits.
Yes, to how exactly. If we can find somewhere else. But I think, a good trip. And hopefully if you've read the reports, watched the videos, seen the tank stuff, done all the rest of it, we've added a bit more context to you. I'm not sure how good this will be if you have been listening to audio, but if you've been watching it on YouTube, hopefully you've seen the pictures and it's not too bad. But there is more, and we'd recommend, in fact, heartily recommend all of the places. Mons Museum, great place to stop. Bastogne,
Aachen.
nice little town, great restaurant, brilliant museums. The one we saw this time and the one we saw last time, really
And
good.
there's a third one that none of us have been to yet. So
Yeah, there's the actual airborne museum we've not been to yet. We've been to the War Museum and the Tank Museum, but not the airborne one. Trier, very good. I thought the museum was fantastic, but a bit old school. It probably could have done with more, dummies dressed up as Roman soldiers and stuff. But maybe I'm childish like that. But some proper artifacts there. And
Aachen, if you're going to go anywhere in Germany, Aachen is just to die for.
Yeah, that means that cathedral's
we
just
need
staggering.
We need to go to northern. I think we need to go to Antwerp and across the top and go to this Xanten.
Yeah, Xanten's the next one, isn't it? Yeah, that's the other big Roman piece.
That's a bit of a detour, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's doable if we plan it properly. But we just need to find a competition that's more well placed for that. Maybe there's stuff in Strasbourg or something. He says trying to make. Well, no, Xanten is in Holland, isn't it? It must be near Holland with that name.
It's not northern Holland. It's northern.
Yeah.
It's that northern German bit.
Yeah.
But then isn't Hervé keeps going on about doing competitions in Lyon? That would be quite good.
That would be a good trip as well. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
Well,
that's it.
Paris.
And then we got a plan for Alicante as well, which is the next one coming up as an overseas trip.
Yeah,
but a bit more of a flying visit than usual, and other ones, many more. All right. Well, look, I think on that note, we've done about an hour and a half, which is not too bad. I wonder if anyone will manage to listen to and watch all the way through for it. We'll see. But thank you for back seating and front seating in the car and trying to keep me awake while I was driving and not screaming when I was driving through the rain on the German motorways. It all seemed to go quite well, and we shall reconvene, I guess, at another time and possibly start doing more of these and start talking more about toy soldiers, because it is quite fun to do, and it's now getting a bit too dark and cold to come out every night.
Then we should make a resolution to take some notes about our games at Alicante so we can remember something other than just, I liked my opponent, I didn't like the result.
Yes, exactly.
Meet interesting people and play toy soldiers with them.
Yes, indeed. And on that note, interesting people and toy soldiers, it's time to wrap this one up. So thank you for watching and thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.